You ever seen a California license plate?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm getting tired of that shit.
Yeah, welcome to the Rendezvous podcast. This week you got Zach Gale, Davis Alden, and the infamous Buffalo Hunter. Talking about out-of-staters, some forest fires going on, and whatever else we get off topic about.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a shit show, I think. But when is it not on the Rendezvous?
Yeah.
Good. Well, forest fires?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
They sure are.
there's a lot of them. There's a lot in California, but I say let them burn.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, if it burns too much, then they start migrating to Wyoming, and we don't want that. So
half of them are volunteer.
January when they get scared of the snow.
well, that's coming tomorrow.
Oh yeah, shit, you're right.
No, actually, I did see, talking about the California fires, the LA area, they were projecting yesterday record high temperatures just because of the fires. They're so close, and then it was just a hot day too. They were between 110 120 degrees depending on where you were at in that kind of area of California. Just sounds awful.
So did you hear about that? There's a California fire that was started by a gender reveal explosion.
Yes.
That's burned 7,000 acres.
Yes.
Stupid millennials.
Yeah.
What state was that in?
That was California.
I was in California.
California doesn't have genders.
Yeah.
You're right. It was just a rainbow. Just rainbow confetti. Yeah, no, I did see that. I don't know if that's I honestly don't know how many fires there are in California. Yeah.
Well, it's almost hard to tell what they're considering individual fires because they branch out so much. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
And then some of them start running into each other. So
yeah.
So if we wait long enough, there's only one, and we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Well, all right. So my neck of the woods up here in Bozeman, the Bridgers caught on fire on Friday. So 3 days ago. And my apartment's got a perfect view looking right out at it. For our listeners who are from Montana or who have been to Bozeman, the fire started right above the M. So there's the M, and if you know, you can hike the M. There's a couple different ways to get up there. There's an easy way and there's a hard way. And the reports that I've seen, I haven't looked today to see if they found out what started it, because it wasn't a storm. It's just super dry and clear the last week. So it wasn't like it was a lightning fire. But anyway, I don't know when it was. It was sometime in the afternoon, but I noticed there was some smoke coming up from the trail next to the M. And then that night, it just kept getting bigger. But it didn't look terrible. Friday night, it was bad, but it didn't look awful. And the reports that I saw said Friday night the fire was around 400 acres, which is pretty small compared to the 7,000 acre fire in California. The one in Wyoming that we'll talk about in a little bit just jumped to 14,000. But anyway, so Friday night I sat out on my patio drinking some beer and watching the world burn. And the next morning I got up and looked out there, and it looked like it had been contained, or mostly there was less smoke than the night before. And I know they'd been dropping water on it all night, and they'd done a pretty good job of sectioning it off with the fire retardant, watching the planes. That was actually pretty insane. I was headed to the store and I'm driving like straight towards the mountains and I saw the plane like fly down, just take this nosedive right at the mountain, then drop all that fire retardant. It was pretty cool to see. So anyway, Saturday I went to Billings, met up with my family, and I came back, and around Big Timber, just south of Big Timber, there was so much smoke. I was like, oh no, like there's no way all that smoke came from the fire I saw the night before. So I thought maybe it was maybe there was another fire that started somewhere that was close by. And then I kept getting closer and closer, and it's coming like right from behind the Crazies, which are just south of the Bridgers. I was like, oh man, this fire got huge. And so I drove through the canyon, and as I'm driving through the canyon, like you can see the fire jumped over the ridge and then started going that way down Bridger Canyon, which is towards like Bridger Bowl and some of that stuff. So it got pretty big. So I think at that point when I was seeing it, it was at 11,000 acres. And once you get back in that canyon, there's houses and there's housing developments and stuff like that. So people were forced to evacuate, and I'm pretty sure some houses burned down this weekend. So,
but they have it contained by now, right?
Yeah. So this morning I got up, and there's supposed to be rain and snow on the mountains today. I got up and I couldn't quite tell because there was just the fog around the mountains, but I could just see enough that there wasn't smoke rising from the M. So I think between the weather and then working on it the last couple nights, they've gotten it contained. So
that's good.
Yeah,
it's got that contained pretty fast for forest fire.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, let me see if there's some new information on it. So still no cause of the fire. Anyway, yeah. So for the most part, it's contained. But yeah, which is good. I mean, yeah, considering it was, right here and really close to town, and there's all those homes, they got it contained pretty well. And then, of course, having the weather helped out for sure. So,
yeah. And then you said Hannah, Wyoming is on fire.
Yeah. So about the same time as the Bridger Foothills fire, I was on Twitter and Mark Gordon was tweeting about the fire. Casper Star Tribune reported yesterday residents will be allowed to return home after the fire prompted evacuations. Said the fire roughly burned 7,500 acres. Well, that can't be right. If they're letting them go back, why is it? If it's 0% contained, maybe just the area where they live.
0% contained in. Yeah, you're good.
Go back. That's weird. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So there was that fire. Hang on. There's some more. That's not all we're going to tell you about that fire.
So that's not a forest fire. Those of you who haven't been to that area, it's an old coal mining town, but I want to say it's basically just sagebrush for miles.
Yeah.
There might be some stands of pine trees, but it's not like your average forest.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a prairie fire. Again, the cause of this fire is under investigation. They're not sure. But yeah, they're saying, just the high temperatures and the dry conditions definitely set it off. There's not much in terms of reporting on it, just other than, people were evacuated and now they're being, they're allowed to go back. So
I was hunting this last weekend in the Snowy Range, Medicine Bow area, by Laramie. I am so surprised that doesn't catch fire every year, just because the beetle kill in the forest is so bad.
sure.
There's down trees everywhere. You can't even like go hunting in most of the forest because you're having to step over a tree every 2 steps. Like, it's just not.
Yeah.
You can't like sneak up on anything. There's dead trees everywhere. One little spark and that whole forest could go.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, that's why California is always on fire. They don't have anybody to go out and clean up the dead trees or, all that dead brush. And yeah, you get one hippie who drops his joint and then boom, everything's on fire. Or you get some dumbasses decide they're going to light off a firecracker to reveal the gender of their baby, and then they burn down 7,000 acres.
Yeah. One thing I think is a major problem, though, is just forest management. And it's partially because, like, the National Forest Service, they don't really have funding to go into forests and clear cut the trees like they need to do and thin it out. So there's not a bunch of dead timber everywhere. But hopefully with the Great American Outdoors Act that just got passed in Congress, it'll free up some money to be spent to help manage forests better.
Sure.
I haven't looked that closely at what the money's supposed to be used for, but hopefully that is part of it, because if you manage the forests better, sure, there's going to be hot years and you're always going to have forest fires, but they won't burn as much,
Right.
Or spread fast.
Yeah. No, and I think we plan to do an episode on that Great American Outdoors Act anyways. And so we'll dive deep into that too. But yeah, I mean, that'll be a good thing if it can, or if it will fund states, because as you know, Wyoming is has a huge deficit right now. And the governor just announced last week $200 million, $250 million in budget cuts, and there's still $500 million that they have to go to decrease that deficit. So, yeah, there's no way in hell the state of Wyoming is going to go clear up the mountains and the snowies. So, yeah.
As bad as forest fires are, it's a natural process. I think a healthy forest needs to be burned every so often.
Yeah.
But,
that's how the debris and stuff gets naturally ridden. And I'm pretty sure.
And how you start new growth.
Yeah, pine trees, don't they have to be like burnt to like grow? Some shit like that.
Yeah,
like pine cones gotta like burn.
Right, that's when they open up to that extreme heat. Yeah. So yeah, and it's terrible too. I mean, some houses were lost. No deaths though, which is good. And again, that fire got contained pretty quickly. It looked like it didn't. There's somebody shared on Facebook. They kind of mapped out on Google Maps where that fire was and where it's been contained and stopped. So it didn't get to Bridger Bowl. Which is good because, I mean, that's huge money for Bozeman. So so that's good, and again, it's too bad that some houses were burned down. But again, no lives lost, so that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Well,
so out-of-staters.
Yeah, you had some recent encounter with some out-of-staters. You still heated about that?
Not as much as I was when it first happened. So, like I said, I was hunting this weekend and my hunt got interrupted by 2 out-of-staters from Minnesota. And so basically one of the hunting laws in Wyoming is if you're an out-of-stater, you cannot hunt in wilderness areas unless you have a guide. So I was hunting in going to hunt in a wilderness area just so there's less people, you know?
Yeah.
And I had been up there in this particular spot I was going to. I'd been up there Thursday and saw a fresh sign. I called back and forth with a bull elk for about 3 hours. It ended up not coming into the park I was at. It had circled around me and winded me and started trotting away, but still bugling back and forth. So I was going to go back there, and my plan was to sit on a wallow because it was going to be the hottest day basically of the month. So I figured they'd come in for water eventually. But as I'm about to walk into the wilderness area, like I'm walking into the entrance point, a couple out-of-staters from Minnesota, because I'd seen them getting ready at their truck. I thought they were going to go on the other side of the road that's not wilderness area. So I was kind of taking my time to get ready. They basically, on a run, cut me off and started walking into the wilderness area. And I was like, aren't you guys from Minnesota? And they're like, yeah. I was like, you can't go in here unless you have a guide. It's a wilderness area. And they're like, no, we're good. Like,
no.
And so I was pretty livid. I ended up, this is at like 10 o'clock in the morning. So now I have to find a whole new place to go because I don't want to be in the same area as a couple hooligans from Minnesota that are going to know the first clue about hunting elk.
Yeah, for sure.
In that area. So I ended up kind of circling around and going below them, thinking they might push some elk my way, but the whole thing was a shit show. So the point is, if you're an out-of-stater, whether you're going to Wyoming or if I were to go to Idaho, Montana, make sure you know the hunting regulations and fishing regulations of the state you're going to. Don't just, because every state is different with most of their laws. Like, know your shit if you're gonna go to another state. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, jeez, yeah. Well, and I don't know if we've talked about this on an episode or if just when we've met up and we've talked about it. But yeah, that would piss me off so much, dude. And just the fact that they just didn't even question you. It's like, nah, we're good.
Just I was like, well, no, you're not.
Yeah.
If I had cell service right now, I'd report you. But
yeah. Well, yeah, and I'm sure that happens, more often than not.
Oh yeah.
I mean, God, even just this summer, we've had an abundance of out-of-state people. And look, there's nothing we can do to stop these people from moving to Wyoming or stop them from just visiting. And let's be honest, Sheridan profits a lot from the tourism industry.
Oh, absolutely.
Wyoming in general. But that doesn't excuse out-of-staters from being massive pains in our asses, okay? Whether it's driving to Walmart or it's going up the mountain to go fishing, just everywhere. And obviously it's the worst around rodeo, but this year it was in May. There was traffic and out-of-staters that rivaled rodeo week,
It was all summer long because of COVID.
Yeah.
All the other states are shut down and people want to do something. Wyoming opened up, so it was.
Well, let's go to Wyoming.
It was thick with out-of-staters all summer long, and it got old really fast because they all think they own everything.
Exactly. Yep. And I mean, shit. I grew up fishing on the North Tongue, going up the mountain and going through those turnoffs and going fishing up there. And now that I'm getting better at fishing too, and I get, well, it's definitely time now to go find new places to fish, whether we're backpacking into somewhere to go fishing or something. But sometimes you just want to go up and just have a nice, easy day fishing on the river, and you can't do that anymore because no matter where you go, whether you go the first turnout or you go past the culvert and up the hill a little bit and go down, there's going to be 2 or 3 vehicles all over at each turnout, and everybody's going to be standing over each other, standing over the fish, and just smacking them on the head. Those fish aren't rising, dude. It used to be you could go in and pull out or catch at least 10, 15 fish a day, and of course I think I don't remember where catch and release starts.
It's above where Bull Creek comes into the North Tongue is all
Right.
catch and release.
Right.
Below Bull Creek is you can keep.
Right. Okay.
I mean,
Because when
probably still should catch and release because it gets fish so much.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the fish you pull out aren't ones you want to keep anyways. And I mean, if you're eating, I don't know, I don't eat trout. I honestly can't imagine it tastes that great. But if you're keeping them for trophies, I mean.
Yeah, I only eat trout when I'm in the wilderness area because.
Trout aren't fish and they can fight me on it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just. I'm sure they're taking them out of the catch and release areas too. Whether and if it's eating or if it's trophy fishing, but
some of them don't know the regulations.
Exactly. And the fishing numbers in just the last 3 years have dropped just steadily, incrementally each year down. They're lower and lower. And I can't imagine it's disease. I think it's just out of people taking them.
No, well, part of it's disease because you get every millennial now catches a 4-inch trout that they got to take a picture with every fucking fish.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like if you've never caught a trout, they're pretty slimy.
Yeah.
That slime is what helps them have a healthy immune system.
Right.
So the more you're handling that fish in your hand and the longer it's out of the water, the more slime you're taking off.
Yeah.
So when you put it back, it's now less healthy and
Right.
has a weaker immune system.
Right.
So when you're taking a picture with every freaking trout you catch, you're hurting that fish population immensely.
Right. Well, and there's proper ways to handle the fish too. I mean, I've always been told you get your hands nice and wet before you even grab the fish,
Yeah.
because then again, you're not taking off as much of that, protective slime. And then you're just overall benefiting the fish by getting your hands nice and wet and ready to handle the fish. And then if you don't know how to, take the hook out, or again, if you're taking pictures of every single freaking fish you catch, yeah, you're those fish are gonna die.
Yeah.
So,
It's like take a picture with the big ones, the ones you catch 3, maybe 4 times a summer. Those are the fish you take a picture of, not the 4-inch trout.
Oh, but it's cute. Look at me with my little tiny fish. No,
Yeah.
Yeah. Shut the hell up.
Well, and then a lot of out-of-staters sit on the same hole for 2 hours and
Yep.
Yeah,
catch the same fish 3 or 4 times. It's like, no, you catch 2, 3, 4 fish a hole and move on.
Exactly.
Without a break.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, when we're going, everybody knows where the holes are now along the North Tongue. And yeah, they sit there, or it's, they're trying to race you to that spot too. You can't just fish nice and casual up a stream or down a stream, and hit the spots. You're always leapfrogging over somebody.
Yeah.
And it's annoying. It's annoying for sure. You know what?
It was so bad this summer on the Bighorns. I went to Weston Reservoir in kind of off of Red Grade.
Uh-huh.
Nobody ever fishes that lake.
Yeah.
Ever.
Huh.
I go just because it's like hard to get to. It's not that popular.
Sure.
I go and there's freaking like 15 people there.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know, dude. There's so many people now. It's hard.
Well, working for YDOT, there was one state license plate that I did not see, and that was Hawaii.
Yeah.
I saw every other state.
I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. Wisconsin, Minnesota were big ones this year, which I don't normally see that many of. Usually it's like California or Idaho or Colorado. And there are plenty of those this year too. Tons and tons of out-of-staters. Yeah.
Honestly, I think our tourism numbers in Wyoming, I'd have to look this up, but I would venture to say, even with COVID, they were as good, if not better, than they have been in years past. Again, I'd need to look that up. But if I were a betting man, which I am, I would put money on that.
Right. Well, the one huge discrepancy you're going to see is the money that comes in from rodeo. But yeah, I mean, even if you take rodeo out of previous years, I'm sure it would be pretty close.
Like the one thing,
rodeo took a huge hit this year.
Yeah,
$1 million lost at least. Yeah,
but
yeah.
The other hit I think would hit tourism was we didn't have the big buses of people coming over from other countries, you know.
Yep.
But I mean, we still had a bunch of out-of-staters. Make for that, I think.
And early in the year too, which I think is what makes up for it in the long run. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have a fun idea of how to be a good out-of-state tourist or sportsman. We're gonna maybe storyboard some ideas there, and we'll release that this summer because I think that'd be hilarious.
It's next summer. This summer's over.
I already consider this summer over. Yeah, but yeah. Well, look at that. We filled up our time.
Yeah. Did a good job.
Yeah, we did. Talk about some good stuff. So, let's see. We've got some more episodes coming. Great American Doors Act, some potential interviews. Hunting season is upon us.
Yeah.
Talk some more about hunting. And is that where Carter's at today?
No, he went to Thermopolis with his girlfriend.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, whatever.
He was busy yesterday catching trees out of Boise. And yeah.
Tell his fishing story. When he gets back on. I think Jasic's at work now, but he was hunting this last week. He and our ag correspondent Art were out doing some elk hunting. So got some stories coming.
They didn't get anything, did they?
No. Yeah, not at least I haven't seen anything. So
yeah.
Cool. Well, is that all for today?
I think so.
Something like that.
All righty. Well, don't forget to subscribe, share with all your friends. Start some fights with us on Twitter. We love that. We got nothing better to do. So.
Yeah.
All right. Peace out, everybody.
See you next time on the Rendezvous.
Yeah, see ya.